Now, I have a really good conspiracy theory about what's going on with Conor, Michael Chandler, Dana, UFC, and the UFC cancellation of the or at least a postponement of Conor's fight against Michael Chandler. Now, I know that like speculating on these things is kind of stupid because you can't verify one way or the other. You know, I did a video where I'm like, I don't know. People are saying that maybe Conor needs some time to kind of, get clean and then come back. I never had any idea whether that was true for sure or not, but I do have a new theory. Okay. There's a new theory that is not, there are dots there for sure where this would be an intentional thing that all of these guys are in on together, potentially. Okay. So that is, that's what we're going to talk about. And it has to do with wanting this fight on a different card for a very specific reason, a reason that presented itself since they originally booked it. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about. And that is what we're going to do. It has to do with this article, this statement, and a couple others. So we're going to jump right into it right now. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'm going to be in Mexico this whole week. Okay. So if you see me go live throughout the week, you should hop on because I'll be doing it from a resort and doing it from a hotel room, and we'll wrap out. Right. So, but yeah, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you know if I go live, and then also like this video if you don't mind. So, okay, here's, when I did the last video, I hadn't heard this yet. And this is Conor talking about the actual injury that he has and what they had to do, and we'll go from there, okay?
What's up, everyone? I'm sure that everyone has heard the news in regards to my upcoming bout scheduled for June 29th against Michael Chandler. Last Tuesday, I suffered another hairline fracture to my left shin. This was sustained in the last round of my sparring session, so, very unfortunate, but this is one of those things. I have never had to pull out of a contest.
Last Tuesday, I actually didn't catch that the first time. The press conference was on Monday. So he did the hairline fracture on Tuesday, and then it took Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday before they figured out what was going on. Not impossible, but
in my whole career, so it was against a Russian fella who we brought in to imitate Michael Chandler, by the name of Hasbullah. As I went for the soccer kick to launch him into orbit of the earth, I just felt a pop, and that was that. After numerous conversations with the UFC and the doctors and everyone involved, they would not clear me after having scans and everything else checked. So, my team and my supporters, I'd just like to apologise to everyone involved. We are hoping for a very quick recovery.
Real quick, okay? He is sober. After hearing this, he is sober. And you know how I know? It's because when Conor's sober, he's hilarious. He is super funny. I can actually tell, dude. He's hilarious. That's hilarious. I was going to soccer kick him into orbit. That's sober Conor. Clever Conor. You know what I mean? But here is the part that is going to give me pause. Ready?
Here. And I would like to reschedule the bout for UFC 306 in the Spear. So, yes, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Okay, so reschedule for the Sphere. Everybody hear that? I am going to show you Michael Chandler's new video on Instagram, but actually, even before I do that, let me show you something real quick of my own that I made on Instagram related to this, all right? Because I did this, okay? Check this out. I said, this is before I heard that. I said, Conor, fake injury conspiracy theory. Faked it so he could headline the Sphere. Okay? That was, first of all, how many views does this thing have now? A lot. The most I've ever had, for sure. It has 273,000 views. Man, what's up, dude? I can do Instagram too? Jeez. But anyway, that was before I had heard that. Okay? Whoops. That was before I heard his own statement saying, let's reschedule for the Sphere. Because as soon as I was like, so they're going to be out for a couple months, and like, it just didn't add up, man. Like the things that they were saying did not add up in terms of the timeline. Like I talked about that on my other video where I was like, so I don't get it. He's how do they know he's going to be back in a couple months if it's an injury to the leg? And I'm going to say this, dude, a hairline fracture on the leg that he's got a plate in, that's not a big deal. That's something he can just turn around and be down. And then Dana is saying he's not even going to talk about when Conor comes back until whatever. Anyway, so next we're going to watch this Michael Chandler video, and then I'm going to show you even more evidence that I have. Not evidence, but circumstantial evidence coming from Dana's conversation in an interview about the sphere, okay, where I'm like, there you go. That's another big piece of the puzzle right there, potentially, of why this would be intentionally pushed back. Okay, so check this out. Let's listen to Mike. I have not seen this yet. He just dropped this, so I wanted to do this together in this video.
Well, it's Monday morning. On the trail right now. Getting my mind right. Thinking about what has transpired over the last couple of days. Obviously, you guys saw it all. Got the rug pulled out from underneath me.
Jesus. Okay, so you know how at the beginning of this video I said maybe they're all in on it? If he's in on this, he should go to fucking Hollywood, because he looks very, very, this looks very real to me, his emotional state.
At the last possible moment. Had just got done with my last sparring session Thursday morning. Had been hearing rumblings since Monday, obviously, but really got the call about an hour after my last sparring session was completed. An hour after a celebration. Anybody who's trained for a fight, or anybody who has gone through a training camp for something, you know, you go through a really hard block, and then in order to peak, you get toward the very end to where you don't go hard anymore, as to throw yourself into the fire and take the chance of injuries, overtraining, bumps, bruises, cuts, all those different things. And I had just gotten done with that.
So if that was unclear, what he's saying was from that last sparring session until the fight, he was going easy. So he's saying he did all of the hard work, like all the hard work, the kill yourself work was done. And now he was going to be in cruise control until the actual fight. And that's when he found out that Conor's not going to fight.
The happiest and healthiest and hardest to kill, most dangerous man I have ever been in my entire life. In that moment, to 30 minutes later getting a phone call that all of that was for naught. Or was it? Reminds me of the story about the man at the bottom of the hill, where God comes to him in a vision and says, I need you to push this rock. And the man pushes it and pushes it and pushes it. His shoulders are bleeding, his hands are bleeding. He is dead dog, tired, exhausted. Finally quits and looks up and said, God, why would you tell me to push this rock up the hill if you knew I wasn't going to be able to do it? And he said, son, you misunderstood what I said. I didn't tell you to push the rock up the hill. Just because the rock was at the base of a hill doesn't mean I was telling you to push the rock up the hill. I was just telling you to push the rock.
I actually don't understand that metaphor. If someone does, throw it in the comments. Anyway, explain it to me.
Sometimes in life, the best thing that you can be is just obedient to the cause, obedient to the grind.
Never mind, I do understand.
Obedient to the process. And the result is going to take care of itself. Whether that result is a letdown, whether that result is a delay, whether that result is a set of circumstances in which are out of your control. So what do I do now? A little bit of uncertainty in my life. When's this fight going to happen? What date would it be rebooked for? What venue? How bad is the injury? Reports have come out that it's not that bad, just needs a little bit of a delay, but it's still no guarantees.
Jeez, man. If this guy does not win this fight, if Chandler does not win this fight when it finally happens, there is no such thing as karma. You know? Like, I'll tell you this right now. I respect, I think that when people look for meaning in life, more than anything, if they can create the narrative that they tell themselves that everything that went good or bad ended up being to their benefit, that's the best possible way that you can live your life, and it'll end up being true. But if anybody, if life comes down to deserve, does this person deserve this? Does this person deserve this? I mean, dude, who has ever deserved to win a fight more than Michael Chandler deserves to win this fight after all of this? But at the same time, if he loses, if he really is like a man of like true faith, he'll be able to tell himself that it's going to be for the best because maybe he would have won in XYZ and maybe that would be the case. The worst times of my life, the absolute rock bottom times of my life, I would not trade them for anything. They made me a much better version of myself, and that's just a fact. But man, I feel for this dude, man.
But I thrive in the no guarantees.
I don't like that at all.
Just a walk-on kid from High Ridge, Missouri, who has continued to trot in a forward trajectory no matter what the opposition, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the situation. It's not up to me to will outcomes into existence. It is up to me to do the work. We let the work talk. We do the work, and we do the work until we've become undeniable. Don't you dare disrespect me by feeling sorry for me.
I take it back. I do not feel bad for you. I retract what I said.
Don't you dare disrespect me by having any kind of sympathy. Be emboldened by my situation. Be emboldened by my steadfastness and my immovability of hitching my dreams to a shooting star and continuing to move forward. If you've been on this journey with me for a long time, you know how I operate. You know where my mindset is, where my mental is. And it is nowhere near down in the dumps. I am emboldened by this test, and this test ain't done yet. And this test shall turn into part of my testimony.
That just gave me goosebumps. True story.
So we keep moving forward in the face of adversity with complete disregard to previous failures, previous setbacks, previous things outside of our control, and future opposition.
Let's hope that I'm right. Let's hope that I'm right. Because if I am, and these guys are cooking up a little scheme, Dana and Conor, and they're going to do this fight in the Sphere. And by the way, when I say shit like this, I'm not, like, if I'm saying something that is illegal or something, I don't know enough about legalities to be intentionally suggesting that they're doing something illegal, okay? I'm just saying maybe they figured out that it would be a little bit more profitable for the company and it would make for an absolutely incredible event at the Sphere. When they were actually looking at the Sphere, they're like, we got to do Chandler and Conor in this place. We got to do Chandler and Conor in this place. Maybe they talked to Conor and they're like, look, man, I'll get into that in a second, actually. This is probably enough. You guys get the point of the Michael Chandler part, all right? So here. Whoops. This is the part that I wanted to talk about, all right? So here's what Dana White said, okay? And he said this about the Sphere. Boop. Dana White wants to take fans inside the UFC. It's madness, absolute madness every day. They chronicled the lead up to UFC 305 at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I'm already 17 million into this thing, and it's not till September. Okay? I don't need to read anything else besides that. They're already in 17 million to that thing, and it's not even till September. So let's just say hypothetically that when they start running the numbers, they're like, okay, we didn't anticipate that the Sphere was going to be such a massive expense. You know, we already are going to have to, do XYZ. And what if they were like, but if we move Conor and Chandler into the Sphere, that will change the numbers by this, right? Like we'll be able to, this will be the biggest gate in the history of sports, right? And then they're like, how could we do this? How could we do this? And if that was a thing that they were going to investigate. The way you would do it is you would need Conor to be in on it. Okay, Conor has to be in on it. So what you would do is you would start floating through Ariel that there's something going on with Conor. They're not really sure, but they got to call around and see if they can find someone. And so they get to investigate, right? They get to investigate whether they can get someone really awesome at the top of the bill like Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska without causing total fiasco, right? And then if they are able to fill that spot, then they go forward and they push it to the Sphere. And if not, they go, never mind, Conor's fine. And the only reason that I say that makes sense, like where it's like, so they're calling around, but it's like, hey, I don't know, man. I don't know. They're calling around is like, maybe first they started calling people and they're like, that we can't make this work. So they're like, never mind, it's fine. Like, it's totally fine, guys. Never mind, it's fine. And then it's like, oh my God, we actually got Yuri and Alex booked. They're like, really? They're like, what if we got, what if we also added Diego and Brian Ortega? It's like, we got them too. They're like, let's do this, dude. Okay, we're going to make this thing happen. And then bam, they pull the trigger. And now, they push Conor and Chandler to the Sphere. Conor knows they're going to be fighting in the Sphere. UFC knows they're going to be fighting in the Sphere. Apparently Chandler, would have been unless he's the best actor ever. Now, I am a conspiracy theorist, of course, and I'm not saying that this is what they're doing, just something that I've thought about, right? The only conspiracy theory that I'm wildly confident that I'm right about is that they had Khamzat Chimaev miss weight on purpose against Nate Diaz. That one I am very, very confident about. But the circumstances around that were pretty wild. So anyway, sending my best to Chandler. I'm sending my best to everybody. And I hope that if Conor's hurt, he heals up good. If he's not hurt, that he is getting ready for the Sphere. I'm ready. I want everybody to win, man. That is what it is. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. I love you guys. Bye-bye.